Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a wet and cold Moscow, and welcome to a new video. Today, I thought we'd go and have a look at a brand new shopping center that opened yesterday. I wasn't able to make it yesterday for the grand opening, but I'm here a day later. I think all the fanfare might have subsided now, and we're gonna go check it out and see what it's like in Russia in 2024 and see what a brand new shopping center looks like and just see what's open and what's not and see what it feels like inside. As you can see, it's a little bit gloomy today. I was hoping for nicer weather. It's a little bit cool, and this is the shopping center in front of us. Now, it's actually a one-level shopping center, which is quite rare for Russia, and especially when they're building new shopping centers, and quite a lot I've been to recently are all multi-level and they're on a much smaller footprint or space. One thing I will say is have a look at how big this car park is and how many spots there are. Now, I am here on Sunday lunchtime, so I'm hoping that at least some part of this shopping center is busy, but the shopping center end where I am here looks very quiet. They built this humongous car park. Now, the unique thing with this location is there was existing businesses here already. This is Leroy Merlin, the very well-known French hardware store. They're all over Russia, they're all over Europe, and it worked out actually handy today. I had to go in and grab a couple of things, and it's actually underground parking, and then the actual shop itself is up on the first level, so there is even more parking. And then this whole area, which is this grey building, is the shopping center that they've built, and then off in the distance is a Globus hypermarket, which is the very famous German supermarket chain. Is there anything Russian here at all? And you can see all the cars over there and how busy it is. Of course, Sunday, most people aren't working, so a lot of people do go shopping and go food shopping. So I think it might be busy over there. It's just so interesting how big this car park is. And the other thing I want to go and have a quick look at here is a place called DE Sport. Now, depending on where you're from in the world, this was Decathlon, which is the largest sports store in the world. They did say that they've left Russia now, and it's been rebranded as DE Sport. However, everything looks fairly similar. Could do with a bit of a paint job out the front though. I think we might just poke our head in and have what it looks like inside. Just doing a quick Google check about Decathlon, because I'm from Perth in Australia, if you didn't know, and they did actually open a shop in Sydney. However, there's a possibility it'll close because it's lost over $20 million already. There are so many established sports brands in Australia and shops that a new store coming in will struggle. In Russia, they had 35 of these stores. They're mostly what's called big box stores or standalone shops that are not in shopping centers. So they're a little bit of a different design. Of course, people have to actually park here and walk in. It's not in a shopping center, so it's not convenient to come to a lot of them. Some of them are in shopping centers, but most of them are all standalone buildings like this. The actual shop is open every day from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. That's very normal trading hours in Russia. What we might do is just briefly kind of pop in and pop out, and we'll have a look around. There was a very nice lady here who was waving and saying hello to me earlier. However, the shop is completely unchanged from how it looked when it was Decathlon, and everything is absolutely exactly the same and no different. I'm actually going to just walk the reverse way in here. They've got the counters and then self-checkout, and then the way it's set up, the store has got these different little nooks with everything in different corners and every sport that you could possibly want. The one thing with Decathlon is they don't necessarily have any branded items, and everything that they have in these stores are their own in-house brand. And talking about when Decathlon left and DE Sport came, they basically said that they're still supplying products to the store, and at some point they won't supply products, but there's still plenty of things in here. It's still nice and full. There isn't any shoppers in here though. There was a couple of people in here earlier when I walked around, but everything seems completely as it was. The only difference when you look at some of the packaging, it's got DE as the lettering rather than Decathlon. So they've literally not changed anything essentially, apart from some of the labels and words on the packaging, that's all. Quite interesting in the shop there, when I switched the camera off, I'd actually previously been for a bit of a walk around just to have a look at what was in the shop before I started filming. Then when I walked back in with the camera, they're all staring at me, and it is completely allowed to film in public in Russia. There is actually a law that allows you to film in any shop, in any business, in any company, and essentially they can't stop you. They can definitely ask what you're doing, and I'll be polite and let them know that I'm making videos like this. But when I walked in with the camera, you might have seen that, where the staff were kind of looking a little bit curious. Now we're going to head on into the shopping center and have a bit of a walk around there as well. Now we won't go into Leroy Merlin. I've done quite a few videos. I will put a link to one of the walk-arounds I've done in a different Leroy Merlin. They're not different really from each other, so we won't go in there. And I think we'll actually end the video down at the Globus end of the shopping center and just briefly walk in and check it out. The shopping center is called Odi Park, and that's in reference to Odintsovo, which is the nearby area where I am. Actually, the train station for Odintsovo is around about 15 minutes from here, and that's where the name comes from, and it's really in reference to the whole region. They didn't come up with any fancy name or some tropical name. They're just naming it after the local area where I'm standing right now. Walking inside the shopping center for the first time. I'm basically at one end, and then there's an exit at the other end. It is very green and very tropical. How are the plants sticking upside down, I wonder? However, this shopping center is quite interesting because it's a one-level shopping center. This is very typical of shopping centers around the world, and I would say it's almost untypical of a Russian shopping center, which normally has multiple levels, and it's a much smaller walk around of the shopping center itself. The first thing I'm definitely noticing is lots of stores not open yet. I did notice for one of the brands here, they put the map of where the shop is. So where we've walked in from one end, just here, it's a big circular loop of the shopping center. So this is definitely a much more traditional shopping center that you'd see around the world, and almost very un-Russian-like in its design, because we want to go to the 5th level, or we want to park 2 levels underground. First thing you see when you come in here is actually a bed shop, and this company has massively ramped up their operation because IKEA left. There's a huge market for furniture and bedding and sofas, and this brand has actually now expanded into a lot of shopping centers, knowing that people do come furniture shopping in shopping centers, which wasn't a normal thing to do only a couple of years ago. I think I need to change the microphone settings because they've got music playing very loud in here. I'm not too sure why they do that. They seem to love doing it in Russian shopping centers, just blaring through the speakers the music. I think it'll be interesting as I walk around, because this is a brand new shopping center for this district and region. A lot of people, including myself, are discovering this for the first time. Not everybody comes to the opening day because normally there's too many people and too much fanfare, and coming the next day is just as easy. There is a very nice kitchen store here and home goods store. A lot of the shops that we'll see are very much franchise stores that are in all shopping centers in Russia. So there isn't a lot of difference from one to the next. The very famous balloons when a store is on its grand opening. The richest man in Russia is this man who owns this balloon company selling balloons to everybody. This is actually a really nice store, and you can see lots of people in there having a look around. And again, because of that departure of IKEA, there is such a hole in the market for home goods, things for your kitchen, general furniture. So these sorts of stores will do very well because a lot of people know the brands, and where they're looking for something new to fill their house, these stores just fit straight in. So what they've got is there's a mixture here of posters on the walls where it's got the brands of shops that'll come. Very nice chairs, which is very un-Russian also. A lot of shopping centers, they don't have the chairs because they don't want you to sit down and relax. They want you to be spending and shopping. So it looks like Gloria Jeans will go in here. Gloria Jeans filled a huge hole with Uniqlo and Gap and H&M leaving, and they've took all of the retail space that they possibly could. Nice and light. It's actually darker outside than it feels in the shops here. Maybe these lights are brightening it up. So we did see DE Sport outside, and it looks like at some point they're going to be opening here Sportmaster, which is a very popular sports store. I think it's probably the most popular one in Russia. They have their own in-house brand, and then they've got all of the Western brands as well. So that's probably not too far from opening. Kari over here. This is a multi-brand clothing store. Very similar to Ross and Marshalls. Very incredibly similar. And I hope this lady is working there when I eventually come back. She must be the face of the company. And then Gulliver is a clothing store as well. This is the only thing I don't love about shopping center openings in Russia. They rush to open them, and then there isn't really any shops open. And when you come in here for a walk around, everywhere feels empty and deserted. They've got the big roof here. This lighting is very nice. Definitely doesn't make it feel as dark outside. Be free. This is another clothing store. Where are all the shops for men? I always wonder where they are. They have to be somewhere in Russia. I just bumped into a channel subscriber, and he's actually from this region. And it's very interesting to talk about where he lives here and about this shopping center. They were telling everybody in this local area that this was going to be finished 5 years ago. And finally, yesterday it opened. However, the thing is, in 2024, I can almost go to a new shopping center opening every week. Literally, in Moscow as a general area, there's more than 300 shopping centers. And they're not closing, they're opening them. Now, I was hoping there would be some food outlets here, because we've all come here and we're all hungry. But there's very nice pictures, but the food court is still under construction. They do have all of the little bays set up there for the little takeaway places. I think we'll just have to wait a little bit longer for them to open fully. That'll be nice though. You can come and have some lunch, do some shopping, and enjoy a few hours at a shopping center. The one thing that's really interesting with them opening this brand new shopping mall is that there is no supermarket here. Obviously, because Globus has such a huge hypermarket at the far end of this area, there was no need to build another one, because they just struggle for shoppers if they had another supermarket on top of Globus. They've been here for quite a lot of years, and this whole area, everybody knows Globus so well, so there's no need to come to another place to buy food when you've got your favorite shop already here. Perhaps we should have a look in DNS. And this is an electrical goods store. It's actually probably more known for its computer products and the amount of items you can buy for PCs or even building computers. There is actually a few people in here as well, which is nice. Just the amount of laptops. Didn't even think there was this many brands. You can see on the back wall there all of the parts for computers. So if you want a mouse or a new keyboard, you've got plenty of choices. And this store was very famous for that for a lot of years, as the place where you'd come and buy computer parts. And then slowly over the years, as people became more online shopping savvy, these stores became less recognized. They still have everything. So remember, this opened yesterday, literally. So you can definitely get everything that you possibly want. Please let me know in the comments, do you have a robot vacuum? My wife keeps bugging me and she wants one. And I think they're not overly necessary. If someone's got one, let me know in the comments if you like it and love it. So the store is very full. Of course, it opened yesterday, so it's going to take time to sell through a few things. Plenty of TVs. And it seems like there's a lot of choices of them too. And that's the thing in Russia, even in 2024, we're not limited to one or two brands or choices. There is literally row after row of them. And then at the back of the store here, all of the white goods. Every type of fridge you might want, washing machine. And they even have some electrical items as well, which I think most people would go over to Leroy Merlin and buy things. But yeah, they've got them in here. I think Karcher is German. If anybody knows this brand, I do know they make jet washers and different things. So there is plenty of Western brands available. And then even Cat and Bosch. I'm not too sure where they're made. However, I'm not sure I really want to buy a chainsaw from an electrical goods store. Much rather go to the hardware shop and get the advice over there. Lots of TVs available. I wonder if they've got some opening specials or not. It's just interesting to come to brand new shops right at opening time. You know, we're here only the day after they would have cut the ribbon and opened the store. And they're not opening the shop with nothing on the shelves. Everything is definitely here and available. You can now see all this computer section at this end. So you can literally buy all the parts to build your own computer. PlayStation games. In Russia, we can buy PlayStation 5. So for anybody wondering, they're more than available in Russia. They haven't left, and we can definitely buy them. But just have a look at all the choices. Talking about DNS, one thing that they're also very known for is their online shopping. And you can basically order pretty much anything you possibly want, or a brand that's not even in the store, and then you can have it for pickup at this location. So you don't have to go to another store in another part of Moscow to buy it. And I was asking him about iPhone 16, and they don't have them on display there, but he showed me on the website that they're definitely available and you can order them for pickup, and you can get one right now if you really want to. I really was hoping for more stores to be open, but this is something I've got to get used to when I go to brand new malls in Russia. They are not so good at getting all the shops open on time and according to the opening date. So when you come, you're walking around wondering what's here, and you just see the roller doors and the sheets up over the shops. the balloon guy is getting richer again with the grand opening. This is another clothing store. This is actually a little bit more men focused than ladies. So there is something for the gentleman to come shopping and buy. Now I wonder if this is where the Sportmaster store will be. This big roller door right here. And I'm pretty sure the minute these guys open, the DE Sport out in the car park is gonna absolutely suffer because of the fact everybody wants to walk indoors. We don't want to walk across the car park to go shopping. There is a few signs up pointing you to the different shops. They're just not quite open. This is very typical of an Australian shopping centre where you walk around endlessly on one level and you feel like you've walked from one suburb to the other by the time you get to the exit. I think this clothing store is not far from being ready to open. I just wish they'd have the music a little bit softer. That's all I'm wishing for this shopping centre. So what do you think, everybody? Now, I always like to call everything Russian typical, and they really are. If you go to any other city in Russia, shopping centers look exactly like this, whether it's a few hundred kilometers from Moscow or 5,000 kilometers away. And a lot of the same shops are repeated store after store. I think there's another store. This might be the first shop with shoes in it, which is interesting. There's no shoe shops as I've walked around. So yeah, it's definitely very typical in terms of all of the brands and companies that you see. Over this one level format, I think we're so used to walking around a smaller shopping mall and then just going up a level to the next store. How big is this shop? They really are supermarket size clothing stores when you walk around. I think it's just a matter of coming back in a few weeks and you get a better feeling for this shopping center when you see all of the shops open and all of the different things that you would want from a shopping center would be here. And walking around and seeing everybody today, it's just a little bit strange. Everyone's just staring at the different shops that aren't open. And I think we all wanted more when we came here today. Maybe I can do this as my thumbnail where I show that all the shops aren't open and ready yet. And Russia is struggling to find businesses to trade. However, they're just a little bit slow opening. And there is these cutaways in all of the paneling here where there's people working behind the scenes. Sunday also isn't a work day for construction in Russia. So there is nobody here doing any physical work today. They'll be back tomorrow. It's still nice to come for a walk in a shopping center, and a one-level one as well. You don't get vertigo when you come into these street-level malls. So I've reached the far corner of the shopping center, and there is quite a lot of people here. Now, Sunday and the weekend is the more popular day that people would come to shopping centers. And I would imagine a lot of people that we're seeing as I'm walking around are all locals and live somewhere within driving distance of here. And there is a few more shops open at this end. This is a jewelry shop, which is in every shopping mall that I possibly make new videos in. And again, the balloon guy got his fair cut. And there is also a perfume shop here as well. And of course, always very popular with the Russian ladies and all the men just standing there next to their other halves. The same thing I do when I come to these shops as well. I always wonder what all the different things are and what they do. They're really nice perfume shops. This has got a lot of skincare and makeup as well. However, all of the traditional brand names are in the shop that you'd be used to. There is a lot of cosmetics also, and lots of the well-known brands. Where are the prize tickets? What's happened? They got all the things on display. So this shop would have opened yesterday as well. So they might have been under a bit of a time crunch to get everything ticketed up. But they've got most things already in place. And you can see again on the back wall all the different brands and everything that you'd be used to. And perhaps even more. Now, didn't they leave Russia? I know the shops aren't open for certain, but we can get the perfume here in a Moscow region shopping center. It's very funny for me even, and I know people don't like it the way I talk about it, and I'm positive about things, that I can buy these Russian brands and all of the Western brands in a shop like this on a Sunday afternoon here in Moscow. There's shelves and shelves of things, and no shortage of something for ladies to spend their money on. Before I end the video, I was going to actually walk through Globus briefly and to show you what was the original building here before the shopping center was added on. However, in the car park here, which I'm going to turn the camera around in a second, you're going to see something very interesting, which I think they might just do on the weekends. So it's actually nice that I can show this to you and show you what something alternative to a supermarket is if you want to buy some fresh local items. What they've set up in the car park is actually a farmer's market, and the color of the tents, I would imagine, are from Globus themselves, and they set these up. It must be only on the weekends, I think. What a great idea. Park up outside, walk through these little farmer's market shops, and find something a little bit more locally made or produced, and things that are a lot more typical Russian than some of the things in the supermarket. Have a look at all the smoked fish that you can get, and then the different types of sausage and salamis. And there's actually quite a few people out here, so some people are just walking into the shops, then people are walking out with their trolley from doing their shopping, and they come across this. All these different types of meats, and then cottage cheese as well. This is absolutely amazing. I haven't seen this at my local Globus, so perhaps it's just a regional thing. Now, not everybody's going to agree with the way that they display and show the products, but this is very normal for Russia. If you go to any type of small market, there's pickled mushrooms here as well, and some dried mushrooms also. And there's even some berries. Not too sure what they are. If anyone wants to let me know. There's more hams and meats. There's also some salo here, which is very nice on a piece of bread. Have some beer, and you've got a nice Sunday afternoon. And this is all sold by weight, so you can buy it in as many grams as you like. Fresh cottage cheese again, and then the bigger blocks of cheese, it's all measured out for you what you might want. Smoked salmon here also. Very nice. What a great idea. Now, I didn't know this was here until I literally walked through from the other end. I recognize the color of the tents. Not too sure how local the knives are, but it's all part of the market that they've got set up. Also some cane furniture as well. And if you want some souvenirs, maybe something that's very Russian in the style of what they are. Some hand-painted things. I think this is some clay pots. Don't know if they'll suit my kitchen. There's also some linen also. So I think this is really interesting to see this in this local market. I would imagine some of these different vendors maybe have a shop somewhere else. They wouldn't come only for this today. If you want some nice apples as well, there's also tea and some different cheeses. So you can talk to the staff. They've even got pomegranate as well. Check that out, pomegranate juice. How nice. And then fresh fish. So their thing would be to sell all of this today. Actually, you can see how fresh it is. They're still saying hello to me here. Beautiful fresh fish. And of course, Sunday, nothing better than some baked fish in the oven. There's even a butcher as well with some beef and some pork, or these pork chops right here. Very nice. So, do we really need Globus when we've got a farmer's market literally outside? I mean, even by them setting it up, it feels like they're sending their shoppers to other businesses, but perhaps it complements their shop at the same time. Lots of different honey as well, and then some more cured meats. All of the different little small delicatessens. Let's jump on into Globus and let me show you what your supermarket option is if you were coming to this place. Depending on when you're watching this video, you might have actually watched a tour of Globus, because my plan was to come here and make a video of the shopping center and a tour of this Globus here as well, because I know they're a very popular video. People love Globus tours, and you might be watching the shopping center video before the Globus video, or vice versa. So you can watch both of them. You might get a little bit of overlap at some point. And let me just show you what this supermarket looks like. So if you don't know anything about Globus, the brand, it's actually a German supermarket chain, which is still in Russia. They've got quite a lot of these stores throughout the whole country, mostly in the biggest cities. Now, if you can imagine, this was the only building here before the shopping center was opened and completed yesterday, then you would be coming here only to this supermarket area. And the one thing that's really interesting, before they opened the far end of the building, was that they actually had already quite a lot of shops here built together with the supermarket. Quite a lot of the Globuses that they built over the years in Russia were standalone buildings, and they are absolutely huge. If you can imagine two Walmarts side by side, or two of your normal supermarkets glued together. And what they've done with these standalone businesses is they actually rented out the front area to other businesses to trade alongside each other. So when you'd come to the supermarket, you'd have other things to do. Now, of course, with the shopping center opening, people are obviously going to slowly migrate to the other shops in the building. If you want scratch lottery, maybe Sunday's your lucky day to win. But you can see now why the car park was full when I showed it right at the beginning. And as I just walk through the farmer's market now, everybody's coming for their Sunday shopping. So there's a whole series of little shops on this left-hand side, and then the hundreds of registers on the right. Everybody's already coming out from shopping. The one thing Globus also has, it's got its own little, basically, restaurants or cafes. So you can actually get yourself some food, sandwich, a burger, and you can literally, after you've done your shopping, sit and have a snack. And now that this shopping center is open and it's all attached together, it makes a lot more sense why they didn't put a supermarket in the main part of the shopping center. So Globus actually has two different cafes. This is the takeaway one, where they've got pizza and different types of fast food, if you'd call it that. Always very busy. And then there's a pastry shop at the other end as well there, with cakes and coffee. And everything that they sell, you can buy in the supermarket. And that's why people love it, because they love Globus as a shop. And then we also want the cakes and snacks and food at the same time. This is where all the people are. They're not in the shopping mall. They're all here at Globus. So there's a dry cleaners, there's an optician, there's a few different tobacco shops, and then there's actually a pet shop as well. So you've got everything before you even need to go in the mall. It'll be interesting how some of these stores might be affected. I don't think they'll get duplicated inside. But this is a very big store to come into. There's a portion of it that's all the non-food items, and the grocery end is at the far other end where we walk through. So yeah, this Oadey Park is now complete, well, as much as it can be, once the other shops are opened. And in 2024, new shopping centers are opening and new businesses are definitely opening, and trade goes on. They do actually have here the handheld scanners, so if you want to do your own self-checkout of your shopping, you can grab one of these via your account, and then you can scan all your goods and pay before you go out through the exit, which is really neat. You don't see many pet shops in Russia. There is one right there though. They're not necessarily having pets available, but it's more like a supermarket for pets, so all the different food and accessories. There is also a pharmacy as well. And then if you need some tires from the supermarket, they've got all the studded tires now, ready for winter. There's a key cutting guy over there. And then the pharmacy. And then where we walked out of the mall earlier, this is where they've literally opened up the space to have you walk then on into the rest of the main shopping center. As I make my way out of the shopping center and the supermarket is off behind me, I really hope you've enjoyed this video of Oadey Park Shopping Center. Now, I think the word park, although there's no grass anywhere, probably refers to the business park where we've walked around, particularly from the beginning, and the fact that it kind of links everything up together now a little bit more. Although it's a bit of a distance from one building to the other, you can definitely come and do all your shopping in one business center, although it's not all under one roof. I hope it was interesting to see what a brand new Russian shopping center looks like in 2024. I can literally go to a brand new mall every week almost. They're literally opening every week in Moscow and in other cities. If I could get to somewhere a few thousand kilometers away, I could go to a shopping center opening in only 3 days' time if we wanted to make more videos like this. And it's just interesting to see that retail is alive and well, and shops are opening. Now, of course, once a few more of the shops will open here, it'll make a little bit more sense and more people will migrate here to do all of their shopping in one place. But the one thing that they do in Russia, they tend to build shopping centers almost in every region. So you don't have to even drive 15 minutes away, 30 minutes away to go to another shopping center when you can come to the one nearest to your house. And this close to home shopping becomes more relevant. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That would be really nice. Let me know in the comments what you think and how it might compare to the shopping center where you live and how your local shopping center looks today, literally, if you were to go in there in comparison. Definitely the car park at this end is a lot busier. People are actually even struggling to find a spot. We all want to park meters away from the entrance, don't we? We don't want to go, a few aisles away to go shopping. If you want to follow me on Telegram, my link to the Telegram channel is right here. Did even post a photo today of my breakfast, which if you want to follow my daily travels in Russia, that's a great option. And if you want to watch an old video, I will actually put the link to a Globus supermarket. So you will actually see a standalone tour of this supermarket eventually, once I put them together on the channel. You can keep traveling with Russell. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.